Okay. Well, I don't think that worked the way it was supposed to. So now you're just black screened. So let's just go ahead and bring me up before you just get lost in that black screen. But good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Good to see you again. It's good to be back. We're jumping straight into it rather than having a countdown at the start today. So if you can hear me and you can see me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me loud and clear. We've got a new little gadget, little microphone stand gadget. So you should be able to hear Go the All Blacks. He's going to lead with Go the All Blacks. You should be able to hear me so much better than before I went away, because now my microphone's nice and close. So it should be nice and crisp, hopefully, which is nice. How's everyone doing? Hello, Bob. Hello, Horman. How are you going? It's good chatting to you the other day, Horman. I did enjoy that chat. Good sound? Oh, lovely. Thanks, Murray. Look, we're just going to disregard your rugby. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get started, but there was some questionable calls in that game. I mean, you can't argue that. There was something going on there, eh? Like, I get refs make mistakes, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's corruption, but oof, that was a big mistake. Morning, Paul. How you going? Good night. 1 a.m, Jan. What are you doing? What are you doing up at 1 a.m? But thanks for tuning in. It's good to see you. Alrighty. I don't know if it's just fate, but it seems to happen that every time I go on holiday, everything blows up. Everything I talk about every week, everything I work on to trade happens the moment I leave the office. So the reason I've been gone for a little while, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was on holiday, and it was the type of holiday where I would literally switch everything off. Phone off, didn't take a laptop, just disappeared off up the coast, disappeared off the face of the earth. Just that type of holiday, much needed. And I come back in the office, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on kind of everywhere, which is just mental. So, what has happened? Why has it happened? And how can we trade it? That's what we're going to be discussing today, okay? Or the opportunities of how we could have traded it, and then also looking forward into next week on the tradable opportunities as well as today. I've got a bit of a monitor coming through here, so bear with me just for a second. I want to see if I can turn. There we go. That's a bit better. I could hear myself very loudly just then, and it was very distracting for my brain. So we're better now. So what's everyone been up to? How's everyone found trading the market over the past few weeks? It's been a hot minute since we've been able to sit down and have a chat. Is there anything anyone's proud of? Anything anyone's not proud of? Any new achievements? Any big drawdowns? What's been happening? Someone run me through. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Well, just before we jump into what we're going to be chatting about today. It has been a little crazy. I want to touch on the pound. I'll do that shortly. I want to talk about sterling and how that's acting and why. You passed your instant evaluation on your Paul. Well done, mate. Well done. Welcome to the funded. Hello, Steve. How you going, mate? It's good to see you again. I'm doing very well, thank you. Very well. How are you doing? You passed it, Paul. Well done, mate. What account are you on to now? You gave me a boost? Ah, you legend. You legend. Thanks, Steve. We've got some big things coming soon. It's been busy. We've been busy working on, I mentioned probably a few months ago now that I was working on a couple different projects. Well, some of those are gonna come into fruition soon. I've probably butchered that word, but you know what I'm leading for. So there's a couple things. We're going to be launching a new kind of media company. I'll have more details on that in the future, but it's going to be producing a lot of different content for you guys. Content like this, content like podcasts, like if you've seen Mickey and Alex's podcast. If you haven't seen that already, go over and check it out. Trader Over the Shoulder by Trade the Pool. it's pretty impressive. The dynamic they've got going on there is really good because you've got Alex who's not a full-time consistent trader but knows trading, and then you've got Mickey who's been a full-time consistent trader for like 16 years or whatever it is, however long he's been trading. And it's kind of that where you can put yourself in Alex's shoes. He wants to be where Mickey is, but he's not quite there yet. And then Alex can ask Michael the tough questions. And they got that dynamic while they jump through so many different episodes on so many different topics and asking the tough questions and how to push through. Because I know those tough questions from the consistent trader side can be tough to answer because some of the things traders have to go through to get to that level, they have to figure out themselves. And it's not a matter of that I can't warn you or Michael can't like tell you, hey, if you keep doing this is going to happen. It's more of a matter of you've got to sit there and cop the punch on the chin realistically to learn not to do it again. So it's quite interesting the dynamic they've got going on over there and they run through it. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I'll have my own podcast launching. I don't know when we're going to launch it, but I've started recording for it. Okay, so I've started getting some episodes together. So keep an eye for that as well. We're going to have another one pumping out, which is going to be me chatting to a load of experts, a lot of my friends in the market, a lot of people out there doing some big things. We're going to chat about trading, how to get to that next level, our different experiences, our stories, but it's not going to be like an interview. I always see a lot of these trading podcasts, but they're like interviewing them, like, oh, how did you become a professional trader? You know, what did you do? What was your biggest obstacle? It's not very entertaining to me. It's going to be more of a sit down and we're just going to share stories and have a talk as well. So keep an eye on that. We've got a few things coming to fruition over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. There are going to be some real good content coming out that I hope you guys enjoy because I'm doing it for you guys. So hopefully, fingers crossed, will be good. I'm hoping CCL stock goes or CCI stock goes up tomorrow and they quit shorting my silver, for goodness sake. Yeah, well, it's an interesting one. I think silver and gold, I mean, the US dollar is like just the strongest thing going right now, right? Like the US dollar is just doing bits. So as long as the US dollar is doing bits, sorry, the commodities will keep coming down too. You passed the low 24K account. Awesome. Well done. Well done. You're up $2,274 on my 80K instant funded account that I started on September 12th after passing the 20K. Well done, Bob. Honestly. Well done, mate. That's good going. That's good going. Keep going. Let's see if you can get that up to 8K and move on to the 160K account. Remember to stay disciplined. It's easy to get ahead of yourself when you start moving to the upside. Stay disciplined and rein it in a little bit and not get too ahead of yourself, because I know a lot of traders do tend to get ahead of themselves once they start getting in a profit streak on a new account. CCL, Steve? Yeah, okay. Okay, let's start talking about trading, yeah? Got the announcements out of the way. We've got the introduction. It's been a minute, but we're back. So let's start getting into trading. Trading today, we'll touch on this before we talk about the pound and we talk about politics and we get real chatty. Trading today, congrats Paul and Bob, awesome. Unless you're a risk taker, and I say that knowing that we're all traders, okay? Understand that I'm saying risk taker. I know we're all risk takers because we're all trading, right? We all take risks. But when I say risk taker, I mean risk taker. Unless you're a big risk taker, today's not looking great for trading. Or if you're a news trader, then happy days. But we have so much planned. It's like something every hour today that is going to move the market. Which is just unreal, realistically. I think most people are just going to call it a day today and not trade. So we will get volume in, but I think that volume will be our news traders and our reactive traders. I don't think technical analysis is going to be very strong today. I think it's just going to ignore technical analysis if I'm completely honest. start us off 9:30, which is in 20 minutes. We've got Japanese unemployment rate. 20 minutes after that, we have the retail sales for the Japanese yen. And then about 40 minutes after that, we have the Aussie dollar private sector credit, which comes out at the same time as the Chinese manufacturing PMI. Keep in mind, the Chinese manufacturing PMI will move the Aussie dollar more than the private sector credit for the Aussie dollar. Okay. The Chinese manufacturing PMI will move the Aussie dollar more than the private sector credit. Keep that in mind. If you are looking to trade the Aussie dollar during that announcement, the Chinese announcement will move the Aussie dollar more than the private sector credit. Then about 15 minutes later, we have the Caxton manufacturing PMI. Then we have a bit of a break over lunchtime. And 3 p.m. we come back in with consumer confidence for the Japanese yen. 4 p.m. we have the final GDP for the pound. 4:30 we have the Swiss franc retail sales. 4:45 we have the French prelim CPI. 5 p.m. We have the economic barometer for the Swiss franc. 5:55 we have the German unemployment. 6 p.m. we have the Italian unemployment. 6:30 we have mortgage approvals for the pound. 7 o'clock we have the CPI flash estimate for the euro. That may move the market. Keep that in mind. Don't allow like a yellow or an orange folder on whatever your calendar is to fool you. That CPI flash estimate may move the market in the euro for quite strongly, especially if we get a shock announcement. Then at 10:30 we have the core PCE price index for the US dollar. 11, kind of all night really, we have FOMC members speak. 11:45 we have the Chicago PMI. Okay, so that, I know I just waffled a lot, and you might all just be sitting back going, what on earth is going on? I'm going to just close that so that stops annoying me. I know I just waffled a lot, and you probably just sat there and said, Jordan, what the hell did you just say? That was all today's news announcements. That's usually like something like over a week. That's just today. Literally starting in 20 minutes, going all the way for the next 14 hours. Those are all the announcements. There's still more in there, but the main ones to point out. So if you're a technical analysis trader, keep that in mind. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of macroeconomics going on today. I'm not going to be trading any of my technical setups today, solely for that reason. I will watch the unemployment rate for the Japanese yen. I will watch the prelim and the retail sales for the Japanese yen too, as well as the Nikkei Open. But just be very wary that is all going on today. So keep that in mind. Hey, it's me from before, Recti, from Discord. How you going, buddy? How you going? Bob, I've traded the 1 minute chart like I would normally trade the 5 minute 8 times over the last week. At times, okay. And how do you find the difference between those two? Do you feel like you're doing better? You're just trading gold today. It's a good choice, Murray. Keep an eye on for Aussie dollar movements. The gold and US dollar correlations kind of waffled on, like it's not really correlating that strongly anymore. But keep an eye on the Aussie dollar and the Chinese announcements, which are coming out at 11 p.m., which will be a little less than 2 hours from now. That may move gold a little bit, but other than that, I think trading commodities might be a good decision today, especially if you're a technical trader. I think that might be an executive decision from yourself. I think that might be smart. Can't wait to hear your podcast, Jordan. Yeah, Holman, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be producing that. I've already recorded a couple episodes and some great guests. Some people you guys have probably never heard of as well. Some close friends of mine which work up in prop firms in Sydney. Not the type of funding firms which we deal with. It's the more of sitting on Wall Street type firms as well, which are going to be chatting to. So it's good. It's good. You mainly trade fundamentals. I do trade technicals, but my technicals, I like to have a fundamental bias. Okay, so I don't want to be buying into an asset, even if it's short term, if I don't see the value in buying into that asset. If I'm buying into that asset just because chart go up, I mean, it doesn't give me enough confidence to hold that position or to trade it correctly. I like to have the fundamental bias behind buying an asset. Like if I'm trading a stock, I like to have a fundamental bias behind buying that stock, so I can trade with confidence and clarity. that I am happy to be in that position. Otherwise, it gets a little bit too technical, and I just found over time that I didn't perform as greatly if I didn't have that fundamental bias. If I'm trading a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart, sure, you can kind of get away with just scalping it. But if I'm trading anything more than like the 30 minute, I want fundamental bias behind my positions. So I'm not basing my positions solely off of fundamentals. I have done it before, but I like to get a fundamental bias, have an idea on which I think is going to be good, which I think is going to be bad, pair them against each other, and then usually you kind of get an idea of like, okay, Great British Pound, US dollar, pound's really weak, dollar's really strong. I'm going to look for shorting opportunities in Great British Pound US dollar, and then I'll go do my technical analysis looking for shorting opportunities in that pair. So it's kind of like how people analyze higher timeframes. Instead of analyzing those higher timeframes, I just do the macroeconomics. I have a look at the fundamentals. I have a look at where I'd want to be positioned, what I think's weak, what I think's strong, and trade that way. So it's my edge. To say that it's my edge. Okay, so yeah, technical analysis not looking like a great day today. Just because there's so much going on. But we will tune into the Japanese yen when the unemployment rate comes out. It is expected to see improvement on the unemployment rate, which will be interesting to see if it can land that improvement. I don't have a bias, to be honest. I'm kind of just going to watch. I'm not going to trade it. Unless we get a shock announcement. If we get a shock announcement, I mean, every day of the week, the US dollar is looking strong. So even in the event that we get a good announcement for the Japanese yen and we see some push or some buying power into the Japanese yen, I think fading that and getting back into the US dollar would be a pretty strong idea. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we may trade that later on. Remember, any trades I do take or any trades I speak of are for educational purposes only. Please don't go try and replicate these like it's some kind of advice. It's not. It's solely just my opinion. Okay. Let's address the elephant in the room. The pound. The pound. What goes on? Oh, also, on that note, elephant in the room, I've accidentally deleted all of the borders and everything. I don't know how I've managed it, but I did. So we're going naked today without any... It's not really going to make a difference to you, but if you think I look a little bit different and why I'm just sitting in this bland square, that's why. I somehow logged on and I was like, okay, I've deleted everything. And it wasn't even saved on my computer either. Like, it's just completely gone. So I was like, sweet, happy days. I guess we're not using those right now. So I'll have some new ones come back in, but we'll talk about that another time. I believe a couple of weeks ago we already spoke about this because I put the analysis out in the newsletter, and yeah, I believe we already did. We hit that. I definitely didn't see it getting this low. This is the pound US dollar chart, by the way. Yeah, my target was 116, and then kind of sit still for a little bit. I didn't see this, but Liz Truss had other ideas. So if she had other ideas, fair enough. I was quite shocked to see her commitment on bringing in tax cuts, given the current circumstances that everyone's in. Definitely not a time to try and put more money in people's pockets. She's trying to put more money in people's pockets. Now, I don't know if she's running for votes. I don't know if she's... I don't know what she's doing, to be honest. I'm struggling to see the angle on where she thinks tax cuts are going to be a good idea. Maybe one of you guys do. Does anyone have an angle maybe that I'm blindsided by, or I'm not seeing where tax cuts is a good move, given the current conditions in Britain and Europe as a whole moving into winter? Does anyone not understand what's going on? You're just seeing the chart move and you're like, yo, what's happening? Does anyone want me to explain what's gone on? Guess it will be exhausted soon. Looking technically, maybe. I don't know if she. I don't know. Yes, we're getting a strong rebound from these lows. I think that's just people kind of pushing it away from parity. But once again, I'm not looking. You want me to explain, Kutlo? No worries. Okay, so back on the old inflation, interest rates, how it all works, right? When inflation happens, cost of living goes through the roof. Inflation usually becomes a thing when people have too much money. Okay, so when your consumers or your everyday people have too much money, they go and spend that money and they can afford to spend extras. So prices kind of go up, and then there's heaps of different things that kind of lead into it. Business costs, and then you look at international trade with wars and everything, costs go up. But the thing is, everyone can still afford to pay it. So they're just copping it on the chin and still paying it. And then businesses have to pay more for their imports, and then that means they sell them for even higher prices to the consumers, which comes down to everyday people, and they end up paying more. That's how it works, right? Inflation's gotten pretty bad. I'm sure you've maybe noticed it wherever you are, Kutlo. Anyone listening, I'm sure you've noticed that inflation is getting right the way up there. And usually, not usually, the best way to fight inflation is to raise interest rates. So people have to pay more on their mortgage loans, on their business loans, whatever it might be. They now have to pay more back to the bank, right? So what that does is it takes money out of the consumer's pocket. Now, if they're taking money out of the consumer's pocket, it means they can no longer afford to pay for those extra costs on which businesses are marking up. Therefore, there is no demand. So if the business wants to create demand for their product, they then have to lower the price, supply and demand, right? Same as trading, supply and demand. That's how it works. You remove money from people's pockets. They can't afford to pay those extra high costs. Therefore, the whole market as a whole will be forced to bring that down. Otherwise, they're not going to be making any money at all. So that's what they do, and that's what the Bank of England has done. They raised their interest rates last week. I think it was by 0.5 basis points, which is kind of on par with how the rest of the world's going. To raise those interest rates, to take money out of people's bank accounts, so they can't afford to spend these extra dollar amounts on higher inflation, to bring it all back down and regulate the economy as a whole. Now, what really screws up the progress of bringing those interest rates up is when a new prime minister comes out and says, hey, we're going to spend heaps of money to get more money in our consumers' pockets. So she's come in and said, we're going to spend heaps of money to absolutely reduce tax cuts to everyone. Which in return means if you're a general consumer in Britain, you're probably thinking, okay, awesome. I get more money in my pocket every year. But the bad news is it's just like eradicating all of the progress the Bank of England's trying to make with interest rates. It's like the same government. Have you ever seen that Spider-Man meme where it's like aiming a gun, but it's Spider-Man shooting Spider-Man? It's a bit scenario like that. The Bank of England's trying to fight inflation and get this all under control. And then the Prime Minister's come out and said, nah, let's make it worse. And this is the reaction to that. It's everyone going, I do not want to be anywhere near the pound right now because she's making it worse. I don't want to put the blame on Liz Truss. Don't get me wrong. Who would want to be a politician these days? I don't know, and we'll touch on that in a moment. I'm not blaming her single-handedly. Okay, it's a policy decision. I'm just using her because she's the one that announced the announcement. Okay, so this isn't a political speech from me. Don't worry. It's just this is what's happening, so I'm trying to explain it. So we've got all that. The Bank of England's trying to reduce the amount of money in everyone's pockets because it's the right thing to do. It's how we curb inflation. And she's trying to increase the amount of money that's in everyone's pockets preparing. Now, I understand one angle. She's preparing for the winter. The Nord Stream pipeline is blown up. All right, who did that, I don't know. Obviously, all of the West is blaming Russia. Russia's saying no, it wasn't us. Look, it could have been either one. Nord Stream pipeline's gone boom. All the gas prices in Europe are already ridiculously high. It's going to follow through into Britain as well. We're coming into winter where people need, their fireplaces, their heating. It gets cold in Europe. It's going to be interesting to see because it's going to be a tough winter for a lot of people. Petrol prices are through the roof. So I understand Liz Truss is trying to look after her people. And I get that. But what the steps she is taking in doing that is actually hurting them even more. I think the steps that Liz Truss is doing to help people get through this winter is screwing the economy up so much more than what it's going to help. It's like a little step forward for 3 steps back. And look, who would be a politician? I don't think it's a job anyone wants. I just don't think you can win as a politician personally, especially in today's day and age with all the social media platforms and stuff. I don't think anyone can win as a politician. I really don't. But they wanted to do that job, and they're in the office, which means they're in charge, and they've got to make these decisions. And I do think she may have made a wrong decision here, looking at it from an economic standpoint, not looking at it from a human standpoint, looking from an economic policy standpoint. And this is what's happened. This is why. Right now we're getting massive drops. I mean, you can see here we dropped 8.8% in a day. No, three days. 8.8% in a forex pair in 3 days. Wow. Are there pairs that have same trading volume during the Asian session like London and New York? No. No, nothing's gonna relay the same volume. Yeah, effective policy and popularity don't mix, unfortunately. Exactly. So I think she's led towards popularity, and it's a bad idea because she's just gonna get ridiculed. Because it's screwing the economy for everyone else. But yeah. I mean, if you ever wanted to go to Britain, now's a great time because the pound is really low, so it's cheap. But yeah. Not good. No, there's no pairs that'll replicate the New York session or London session. US dollar Japanese yen does move. You could probably grab 60 pips, maybe 70 pips from it. On a good day, you can get 120. But usually sitting in the early hours, you're looking around 40. As you go later in the day, maybe 60, 70, or 80 in the US dollar Japanese yen. Great British pound Japanese yen does move a little bit as well, but you get higher spreads on that as well. So I'm not sure. You think it's possible it was some kind of terrorists? It depends what you define as a terrorist. Personally, I either think it was Russia or the West. Either way, when I say the West, I mean like NATO. I don't think we'll ever know the truth. I don't think either side will ever tell you the truth. I can see both angles. I can see Russia sabotaging it, so Europe doesn't get all of their gas. That they own the gas income. They can screw them over massively, create massive turmoil within Europe and disturb stability. On the other side, I could see NATO doing it as a reason to get involved in the Ukraine war. I can see them doing it, and then the EU declaring war because of it. Yeah, VCDC, I can see it happening. Yeah, NATO. Look, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter what my opinion is either way. All I care about is how it affects the market, how we can make money of it. You have knowledge about that some people say they would have censored some up moves if it came in there, or is it possible to do that sneaky? I don't know. Look, it wouldn't surprise me if it's not, like it would be easy to do it sneakily, I think. But yeah, look, that's a long road we're going to head down there. We're not going to head down that way. We're going to curve it back into market trading. But yeah. Hey Jordan, hi Stephanie, how you doing? Has Ian passed through okay? How's everything? Is everything all good? I saw some of the footage of the hurricane, and wow, it was a tough one, hey. I hope you're alright. Yeah, I agree, Murray. And we'll never know. We'll never know. Each side will blame each other, and we will never know until maybe 30 years down the line, until some kind of evidence comes out. We'll never know. But yeah, the fact of the matter is, either way, whoever did it, it made it harder for Europeans, much harder for Europeans, especially with winter coming through, and including Europeans, Great Britain involved. They're going to go through a tough winter, a real tough winter, an expensive, tough winter. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how all of that unfolds. It was nuts, but we made it through. That's what we like to hear. No damage. Oh, fantastic. Look, the main thing, everything, houses, furniture, everything, all that tangible goods, it doesn't matter in a scenario like that. As long as you and your family are safe and well and not injured, and you, that's all that matters. Always say that in any natural disaster or any disaster at all, everything's rebuildable. A house is rebuildable. Whatever it is, it's rebuildable. Health is by far the most important factor in all of those. So it's good to hear you're okay. It's good to hear you're still trading because you jumped in the live trading room. Thanks for letting me know. It looked scary. It looked like a scary hurricane. All right, well, the market didn't move, which is fun. For the unemployment rate. So I'm assuming it probably hit expectations. It did. It hit expectations. So I'm not going to lie. How long do we have? 20 minutes until retail sales. It hit expectations, and we're seeing a little bit of buy power come in. But you see how it's hardly pushing? Like, you hit expectations on a negative. Like, you pulled in the unemployment rate. On any other currency, this is moving mad. The Japanese yen, it's like, yeah, we did all right. I want to look to go long. To be honest, I think we're going to get a nice bullish push into the Japanese yen because we did just get some good news. And you can see it's kind of flowing prior to the Nikkei opening up and the S&P 500 opening up. But I think all the strength is still in the US dollar, so I wouldn't mind taking this long at some point today. I'll keep an eye on it, but we've got to get through 950, and 10 minutes later we've got the Nikkei and the yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. It's too risky. As I said, today's the type of day, if you're a risk taker, you might have fun, but it's a bit too risky for me. Very grateful, yeah. Awesome. That's fantastic. It's good to hear that John was the same too. It's good to hear that John got through well. You're looking at CCL, Steve. I know it was a little while ago, but let's have a look. You're hoping hard. I missed that wording. I hate that wording. You're hoping CCL goes up. Why do we hope? Why do we hope in a probability market? Why do we do that to ourselves? The XY is falling. Yeah, breathing, I'd say. Bank of England is spending billions to strengthen the... Yeah. Anyone seen the movie The Big Short? The Big Short, it talks about the 2008 financial crisis. And you kind of get the banks bail them out, right? The banks bail out the big boys. Well, the Bank of England's just bought $65 billion worth of bonds because so many firms and banks were about to be margin called. Yeah. If the Bank of England didn't step in today, or yesterday, or the day before, whenever it was, and intervene, you're probably looking at majority of the UK citizens, or at least English citizens, supers being wiped out. You're probably looking at that. Because there was a lot of big firms out there that were going to default on some of their positions on the bond market. Like, they were heavily invested in the bond market, and it's just been getting stumped. So what did they do? They halted trading on it and then bought $65 billion worth of it themselves so that these big firms don't default and therefore everyone lose their pension funds. What on earth is going on? How have we managed to get to that point? It's just remarkable. It's remarkable. Now, it's scary. It's scary stuff because people are going to lose a lot of money, and it's always the people that did nothing wrong that get hurt from this. Always is. It's always the taxpayer's fault, and that's what sucks. That's what sucks. It's just going to be innocent people who get hurt from it. But oh man, it's crazy, isn't it? It's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty. Yeah, US dollar currency index is coming down. You could probably see the correlation. Now, I haven't checked this morning, so I'm just going off of bare knowledge that I'm expecting a correlation somewhere in here. Not really. A bit of profit taking coming in. This is interesting. It's a good note, Murray. It's a very good note because it does seem like there's a bit of profit taking coming through the market. How are we looking against everything else? Yeah, everything else just looks like a bit of a retracement, but it is interesting. I think I still would like to buy to go long on US dollar Japanese yen. Somewhere maybe it's not clean, but the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that we've got so much news due coming and going over the next few hours, and then obviously the Nikkei's got to open up. And when the Nikkei opens up, how's that going to run? What are we going to look like today? I'm not sure. Yeah. It's an interesting one, to say the least. Sorry, a little bit distracted there. I'm just thinking. I just don't think I'm going to trade today. I'm going to be completely honest. I just don't think it's a very good day for me. I don't think it's the right market. You're long on Euro US dollar as there was a reversal candle on the daily. 0.9535 may be the low. I'll look at it. I'll look at it technically, but after what we've just been discussing for the past half an hour, I don't want to buy the euro. If I'm completely honest, buying the euro doesn't sound great to me. It doesn't sound like a great idea. Long, there was a reversal candle on the daily at 9535. So you're down here, 9535. Like you pin, that's like pinpoint bottom. Is that your entry point, or you got in like at the close of that candle? I see the play. I see the technical setup here, especially with a strong engulfing candle. You may run into a bit of problem up here. I would maybe look to take profit area maybe, but there is an area of resistance there which we're also currently being tested, at least close to being tested anyway. Buying never sounds like a great idea at the bottom. I got in once we broke the high of the day. No, it's not so much the technical setup, bottom or not. I mean, there would be a million people that said this was the bottom, and 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 this was the bottom. And you can see all of those had very similar like engulfing candles and strong indications that it's going to head to the upside. Why I'm saying I don't want to buy the euro is because it's the euro and there's a war in Europe. It's coming into winter and they have no gas supplies. The prices are soaring through the roof. I don't like the idea of investing. It's like investing into Twitter right now. It's just kind of a nut show. Why would you want to put your money into it? Now, yes, you could try and pick the bottom, but we're not going to make any money if we try and pick the bottom every single time we're trading. I can guarantee that you don't pick the bottom very often, and when you do pick the bottom, you won't even make that great of a risk to reward ratio. So picking the bottom is never a good idea in my opinion. Once I said, technically, I like it. You can see it pulling back up into this area. But what I'm saying is fundamentally, I don't like the idea of going against the US dollar, and I don't like the idea of going in the euro. That's my bias on the fundamentals, the macroeconomics. When I'm investing into a currency, I want a reason on why I'm investing into that currency and why I think it's going to go up. That's not just technically based. And that's what I'm thinking. Nikkei's down 190. Interesting. There's a nice bounce-ish. But, I mean, for your smart money concept traders, break lower low under this one. If we get a pullback into kind of this area, could look to go short. Definitely could look to go short around that area, but we'll see how it unfolds. It's a bit choppy. We need 10 p.m. to fall over. We need 10 p.m. When 10 p.m. comes over, it'll be happy days. They're releasing the Q3 results tomorrow. Ooh, you're trading. Interesting. You're going to trade the reports. Why am my words just aren't working for me today? It's been a while since I've done a live stream. It's been a while since I've spoke for 40 minutes straight shouting. But that's all right. It is good to be back. It is good to be back in front of you and having a chat about all these things too. But I need a lot of water. Wow, I talk a lot when I'm on these things. But is there anything else that anyone wanted to really touch on? Understand, ask a question, anything at all. You have plenty of time with me. Here we go. We're still moving down. Oh, nice bounce off that area. Bit of volatility in the market here at 942. Strange time to see some volatility come in. $17 pips, early days. It is interesting. You're already in it for the long term? Fair enough. That makes sense then. That makes sense. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right. We're coming down. Someone said they were trading silver. They wanted silver to go up. Yes, Steve, it was you running silver. Yeah, it looks like, look, it's the US dollar doing the movement this morning. Looking weak, I guess. That's the way we're going to head. Whoa. Ooh. Okay. Bit of US dollar weakness coming in early Friday afternoon. Maybe some profit takings coming through. Without fundamental analysis, we could use the 1 minute time frames to catch small price movements and still be profitable trader for many years, right? Yes. Correct. You are correct. Yeah, look, you don't need fundamental analysis. You can be a very successful trader just based off of technical analysis. Sal does it. Gil did it. I just think you can get a better edge if you understand the fundamentals. And I also think you can trade with more conviction and more confidence in your positions on how you manage them if you have a fundamental bias. I also like reading up and researching the macroeconomics and then basing a decision based off those macroeconomics and getting a profitable trade. It gives me more joy than just something based on astrology. Great British Pound, US dollar, crazy spikes. I don't know if anyone got my astrology call there, but we'll go past it. Great British Pound, US dollar, crazy spikes. Getting a bit of movement. Yeah, so I think with... Pardon? That an 80 pip moves this morning? Okay. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, VCDC. We've broken... Did we break like a resistance area? Someone fat fingered. Someone's fat fingered a big position. I don't... No, I mean, we are in volatile times, but yeah. So either someone's filled a huge position. Ah, yep, there it is. They're trying to get it up into this area. You watch this thing drop from this area. Could be a good trade opportunity. Actually, did someone send me this? Recti, the analysis you sent me, was it on the pound? Might have been on the pound. But you may see a strong... Okay, so we're seeing a lot of volume in this pair. That's a little nuts. That is like... That is a little crazy. And we are seeing a lot of volume in this. But yeah, this is interesting. It was from Euro? Okay. Okay, I thought it might have been from the pound. Please, I'm trading on gold. You're trading on gold? Okay, what are you trading on gold? The same resistance area on the... Ooh. Ooh. Then I really might look to... Yes, it is. Ooh, long-term position potential. Get back in shorting that pound. I like it. I like it a lot. Not gonna lie to you. I fancy it. I fancy it so much, I'm gonna open a position. Bear with me. Now, remember, educational purposes only. Do not replicate this position. I'm just doing this. I do quite like it. The thing, I think it's pretty good. I need to have a look at it. I think it's going to sit still for a little bit, so I've got no urgency in this. I might even wait until it gets in the area. But the thing is, it has already got in the area here. Maybe once we get a higher high, I might look to take it. I'm going to look for some kind of confirmation before I get in that. You could potentially pick the top here, but if you do go get in, I'd chill out a little bit, maybe do half risk or something, and then look to fill it once we get a bit more confirmation. Do you have any thoughts on the week ahead yet? Yeah, I want to short the pound US dollar. No, no, I'm only kidding. Not as a whole. I'm struggling. I haven't had a look into really next week's whereabouts and what's going on. I want to get through this week first. But having a look across, I'm still looking for short pound. I'm still looking for short euro. I'd like to see the Aussie dollar do better, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then obviously we've got the unemployment rate. Once the forecasts come out for this unemployment rate, I think you're going to see the US dollar move in that direction for the week ahead. So if they are expecting an improvement, expect some US dollar strength through the week. If they are expecting a decrease or a worse release, then expect the US dollar to kind of sit still or at least steady. I don't think it'll go down. I honestly don't. I don't think there's enough people shorting the US dollar in order for it to go down. But keep an eye on that. It may run around. If Great British Pound indicates enough sellers stepping in, we could short it, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If we wait around, let's see if we can get some kind of confirmation bias. I'd love to be in this area. I mean, ideally, Looking for like kill zone area. Maybe somewhere in there if I could get an entry point in there. If not, I'm probably still happy to take this like down here and take a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. But I do like the look of it. I do like the look of shorting this. For shits and gigs, try to buy an American Silver Eagle any year and see what the price is after the premium one. Premium on one is. Yeah, look, fair enough. I know I've got a friend of mine that literally just buys bars of silver and keeps them in his like wardrobe. I'm not sure why, but I just hold most of my stuff digitally. I do have little bits of gold, but not enough to like make a difference. Yeah, I do like this idea. Whoever brought forward the crazy spikes on the pound, DC, thanks for that. Look, I don't mind it. I don't mind this idea at all. I might even go half position entry early on here, just see if I can pick the top, or at least scale in as it moves against me and get a decreased risk. Can we get down to parity? What do you guys think? Do you reckon we can get the pound down to parity? Honestly, I think we can. I think we can get the pound down to parity. What do you guys think? What's everyone's predictions on the pound? I low-key think we probably can get this down. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Oh, we just had more US dollar Japanese yen news. Any movement? Pumping back to the upside. All right, so well, the area kind of hit-ish. Might see some short sellers here. There's not really enough movement to make a difference. You're looking for maybe like a 4 pip take profit. So it would be a very minor scalp. We do get the top wick. The top wick there. If that gets filled, then happy days. Just let it go. Oh, bless me. If that gets filled, happy days, let it go. But if we can put down, maybe. Sub parity for the pound to euro. Pound is very dangerous today. Something is really pushing it higher. Last 24 hours, not normal. It's called profit taking VCDC. It's everyone taking the profits after the move, right? Someone's buying it up or closing their positions. However, yes, there are some strong people getting into those positions, but whether they're validated long-term positions or whether it's just people pumping it, that's going to be the interesting thing. And how far does it have to be pumped before all of the buyers in the pounds go, we've probably gone high enough, let's head back down. You know? So if you bought in the pound down at the bottom, down here, for example, and then we've had a genius run all the way up to the top here, and you're hitting your first major area of resistance, and you know the pound's not doing too great economically, are you going to start looking to take profits? I would be. I think most people would be looking to start taking profits here. So if we do get up into this area, you may see a strong push down. It may not be a strong push down to the point of where we get to parity, but it may be strong enough to the point where we can get right the way down to like yesterday's low, if not the 2-day low. Strong Japanese yen retail sales? Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Not really moving the Japanese yen, is it? Which is interesting. It's interesting because you got to ask yourself, oh, wow. You're not kidding. Beat it by 2%. Beat it by 2%. And what happened? People shorted it. Remarkable. People are shorting it now that it's got really good data. But that is the Japanese yen data pretty much done until 3 p.m. now. So now we're just going to be pushed by the US dollar. And I told you with this pullback, I wouldn't mind getting in for a buy position at some point. that opportunity's gone. I'm not going to be looking for that anymore. Bank of England stepped in yesterday. It sure did. It bailed out a load of big banks and a lot of people's pension funds, buying up $65 billion worth of bonds. Yeah, well, it sure did. It sure did, Thomas. How you going? It's good to see you. Yeah, look, stick to my point of not trading. Bank of England is pumping it, won't let it fall to parity. Emergency interest rates hike if we get close. Nah, they won't be able to pump it for enough. Bank of England bought bonds using Great British Pound. They won't be pumping the pound. There would be catastrophic of them. There's no benefits into pumping the pound like that. It'll be. I think the biggest thing we're seeing right now is profit taking, and a lot of fear coming in on whether or not we have reached that low. But I mean, even if that is the low, it's too strong of a bounce from that low for it to be the low. Like, when have you ever seen a chart like that and that just end up being the bottom? Like at least kind of a bounce up and then an around and pull back up. Like, it's very rare that I've seen a chart look like that and that be the last time it tests that bottom. So did I just delete? No. So yeah, I'm personally looking for a pullback into this area. Now the issue is it might not be till like up here, which may be a good area to kind of put the stop loss above. If you look down for these like lows in here, safer area around there, maybe pull it into here, you can get a 2.3. That's trading the daily chart. If you wanted to get a little bit riskier, I'd pull this into maybe above here, and you probably could extend it down to these lows, but you're trying to pick a bottom. Realistically, fundamentally, I don't see why it wouldn't go to parity. I mean, remember when, actually this is a perfect example. Remember when this was all happening on the euro, and we got down to parity, which was like here, right? Yeah, down here is where we hit the parity. And you can even kind of see here, like we had this is on the hour chart, right? So it's no correlation with the daily, but we had this like strong bounce and then a strong push back up, and then we slowly like failed and come back down. So we'll see. Jane, how you going? It's great to see someone explain how and why the markets are moving. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying the content, my guy. Thank you. I think a lot of the content out there just be like, do this because Trendline said it, or do this because that. It's like, well, no, there's things moving here. Like, there's a reason. It's a load of people buying and selling, but they're not buying and selling because of that trend line. They're buying and selling because of, reason. So yeah, no, but I appreciate your feedback there. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, like you could kind of look at this, right? On the daily chart, we got down to parity, right? Euro US dollar, and then we had a pretty solid bounce up, like a good run. And then what did we do? We sat there for a little bit and turned back down. We even actually had a fake out of a perfect fucking triangle. Like, excuse me, I don't know why I got really passionate about that. Had a fake out and then a push back down, and then we ended up breaking parity. And everyone was like, "Nah, we won't get below parity. Like, they'll hit parity. That's fine. Let's carry on." We smashed parity. We got down to 95 cents, and we're seeing a similar setup here as well. Euro US dollar and the Great British Pound US dollar. Could be the end of the US dollar bull run. That's unlikely. I just think there's going to be some great opportunities to re-enter. Now, big volume spikes do scare me a little bit. Big volume spikes like that usually can indicate the end of a downtrend or an uptrend, so it's a little scary. But as a whole, economically, I like the idea of shorting the pound. So if I can find a good entry point, why not? Conrad, how you going? Good to see you. Hey Jordan, got to run. Thanks for all the help. Great stream as usual. 5 stars for sure. Thanks, Steve, mate. I appreciate it. I hope the release for CCL tomorrow is going to be the way you want it, and you get very rich, my friend. Bank of England is on standby to raise the interest rates on pound weakness. They've got to raise the interest rates to undo what Liz Truss just bloody done and gave everyone a load of tax benefits. So, like, whatever tax benefits she's given the general public, the Bank of England is just going to eradicate by upping the interest rates. Like, they're battling each other over how the economy should run when the one side is right. It's remarkable. What do you think about shorting Euro US dollar right now? Look, I like it. I like shorting the Euro. I like buying the US dollar. I think we're getting a little riskier the longer this goes on. And I'd like to see it get a little bit higher than like right now. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it. What'd you short, Recti? Pound or the Euro? I know that's with the position you sent me, right? Recti, can I show that position on stream? Do I have your permission to show that page? That chart? It's risky, but it's part of the business. Yes, in a sense. Yes, we're risk takers, but there's risky and then there's risky, right? Like we're all about reducing risk, sustainable long-term investors, right? Long-term traders. If we're risky, there's a good chance that we'll lose majority of our playing money the longer we're in the market. Whereas if we're more risk averse, the stability and sustainability is a lot more beneficial and a lot more probable in the long term. I'm just going to go ahead and if I open that, there we go. This is a trade idea that Recti sent me this morning. I like you. Lots of logic in the stream. Thank you, VC. I appreciate it. Calculated risk. Exactly, Stephanie. Yes, we're risk takers. We bet on probability, but it is a calculated and assimilated risk. We're not just taking risk for the sake of taking risk. Yeah, so this is what Recti sent me this morning. And you can see what type of trader he is, what he's looking for. This is on the Euro US dollar, okay? He's on the 15-minute chart, and he's looking for a short in this area, which I don't blame him. On the daily chart, ideally, I'd like to see it get a little bit higher. But I do understand what he's looking for. Obviously, this doji candle here would have had a bit of buy resistance before continuing lower. Realistically, I think prime entry point's up here. Red line maybe entry point 1. Scale in as it moves against us potentially. I'd like to see it get a little bit higher. I think you should be wary of where your stop loss is placed. However, if this 15-minute does hold this double top, then I think for at least the next 5 or 6 hours, you can probably push it back down. Oh, excuse me. Breakfast isn't sitting well. Gonna short the 20 DMA on Euro store. Okay. Yeah, looks better on lower time frame than daily. Yeah, it does. It does. You gotta argue which one's the better one, but fundamental bias. I agree with the position, and I'm not against it. I think it has potential. I definitely think it's got a little edge over the market, but I think the pound's the one that's screaming for me. If we can get a little bit higher. If we get a break this low on the 15-minute here, and then get a pull back into like this area, then I might look to add my first position, to be honest. I do like the idea of shorting this. I think it's been overly extended in this profit taking, and I think that volume that we're seeing this morning, which is right, whoever pointed that out, it is mental. BC, I think that was you. That may be the last of the buy orders getting filled, potentially. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. We'll see what unfolds. Obviously, the Nikkei has just opened up. So let's go over and have a look at what the Nikkei is doing. We're moving down. Okay, Japanese yen should be moving up unless that's following the S&P. What's the S&P 500 doing? It's slowly pushing down as well. So US dollar, Japanese yen, I'm going to assume is on its way up. Yes, yes, sir. There we go. There we go. How good's correlation, guys? How good is correlation? As you can see, markets opened up 10 a.m. Nikkei opens up. Crap, missed it. Sorry, mate. Don't worry, Coog, mate. No worries at all. I'm here every week. Most of the time, anyway. I was wondering, I didn't actually know that Euro US dollar makes big moves on the Asian session as well. Depends on big moves. Depends what you define as big moves. Like, things do move. Like, I make all of my money in the Asian session. So, like, there is movement. We can trade here. You've just got to be more patient and you've got a lot more time to make decisions. It doesn't look as convicting as what it usually does compared to some other markets. Yeah, so that early buy into US dollar Japanese yen actually would have ended up nice. Remember at the start of the session, I said I wouldn't mind buying in this pullback around this yellow area. Well, it actually would have worked out pretty cleanly, but that's okay. Look, you're short on Aussie dollar New Zealand from yesterday. Can you reanalyze this pair? I'll do a quick one. If anyone has any last questions or anything for me, please send them in because we are well, we've technically already run out of time, but I'm sticking around for the benefit of you guys. So if you do have any questions or anything, send them in and I'll address them. You're short from yesterday. Yesterday here. I don't like the look of this for you, if I'm honest. This formation right here, like red, 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 wick, 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 starting to show that we may get a change in direction. It might just be a minor pullback, but we are definitely going to see some kind of change of direction here, I think. I'll be surprised if it does it and continues. You may get a fake out. It's priming, actually it's priming up for a pretty nice fake out. Keep in mind you're trading two Asian session pairs here, so they will move a little bit more than what other pairs do in the Asian session, which means they will have enough volatility to actually fake out. So keep an eye on that. What's your reason for shorting? If you tell me you're just shorting it because it's moved a lot recently, I'm going to be very upset. Because I like the Aussie dollar. I like buying the Aussie dollar. Keep an eye 11 a.m. So in 53 minutes, you've got Chinese news, which moves the Aussie dollar. If the Aussie dollar moves, the New Zealand dollar moves. It gets a little crazy. Keep an eye on that. I just found your channel live stream. When are you on again? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Mr. Sprint. I'm on this time every week. Every week this time. Unless I let everyone know otherwise. I took assuming fakey, the inside bar on the daily. Nah, I'd fakey. Fakey. That. Shorted there. That what I'm hearing? Yeah. Okay, so that false breaker up here. Awesome. See you next week. No worries at all, mate. I look forward to seeing you in next week. So does anyone have any last final questions for me? Anything at all? Send them in. I'm here. Now's your chance. And then hopefully by next week, I'll have some more information on the podcast and everything like that as well. Euro New Zealand about to reach some potential major daily resistance. If it's going to be the same as the other Euro pairs, I wouldn't overexpose yourself to that. No, it's not. It's not really the same. Oh, yeah. As a SMC trader, you are. I can see your analysis. I don't like the way it's kind of broke that, though. But I get it. I get what you're seeing. You've been very helpful. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Really good stream. Thanks, Jordan. No worries. Foreman, almost called you the other one. It's always good to see you. Always good to have your voice nearby. Recti, take on price action Euro US dollar 3 minute. Lad, what is going on there? 3 minute chart in the Asian session. What are you looking for? I mean, I don't have to, like, I mean, like, if You technically broke the low. You had to pull back and you're pushing lower now. So you maybe see it come further down. But I wouldn't touch Euro US dollar throughout the Asian session personally. Not something I would touch. You think it'll break the low? I have no idea. The market never knows. Who knows? Can you look at CAD Swiss franc real quick for the daily? I can. Last one for you guys. I'll have a look at CAD Swiss franc, and then I am going to have to call it a day, unfortunately. I do have other work I need to do. Daily chart. What do you want? You're sitting on major support. Will it hold? Will it break? I don't know. I'll let you decide that. But you are sitting on major support here. That's my analysis, to be honest. I don't have a price prediction. I don't like these pivotal moments. Thanks. No worries, Paul. Hit the thumbs up. Thanks, VCDC. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you all tuning in. Keep an eye out for next week as well, and some announcements throughout the week, as we're going to have a couple of new things coming. Obviously, got a new podcast coming soon as well, so keep an eye on that, as I'm going to be chatting to a load of different experts and asking them the hard questions. The real stuff, which I know I've been through as well, on how we can actually help you guys get to another level. So, as always, I hope you all have a fantastic day this weekend. Get away from the charts. Go spend some time with your friends. Spend some time with your family. Get away from them. Come back on Monday or Sunday, depending on where you are, and go again. I look forward to seeing you all next week, guys. Have a great weekend. See you later.